Welcome back, everybody. We are one step closer to the beginning of map 2 between Gaming and Cloud9. A second map, Vince, that I'm not sure what to expect, because while on the one hand, the analysts are absolutely right, this matchup specifically on this map went the distance and then some last time it happened. We also remember yesterday where Cloud9 gave us a ridiculously close showing on their opponent's map choice, only to fizzle out across the rest of the series. So will history repeat itself in what regards? It's time to find out, folks. Buckle in for map 2 as Gaming start on the defensive side and Vince brings you the pistol.
Cloud9 on the T side of things, going to be charging towards the box halls. Gaming do have 3 players over here, so it seems like the call has been made. Tanner's in, flashbang, up and over. It's solid. It's a massacre. In the blink of an eye, everybody falls from Cloud9. You said fizzle out. They just got stomped.
Okay. All right. That happened. And I now fear for Cloud9's lives. Vince, that doesn't get much better. I mean, just 3 insta-kills for Dumao, 2 on IDK. You just wrap it up, sweep it under the rug. Mom will never notice. Cloud9 gonna have to try and find a win with the force buy. They've got those upgraded pistols, a few pieces of utility, and they could find timing on a guy like IDK. Dangerously close to that there E-box, but Dumao with 1 through smoke, and the MP9 rattles off. It's Sonic who has done everything thus far for the side of Cloud9 in terms of an answer here. Again, because of the investment, they can't afford to do nothing this round. If it was another utter blowout like the pistol, they'd be even worse for wear.
At least they're making Gaming look over their shoulder this time, making them feel that it's made to be a little bit scary, and now that fear has come to light, the nightmare becomes reality, and reality's not spelling out too much success for Gaming. Tanner's in, MP9 coming in through A main, up against 3 players strong who have picked up 2 rifles from the corpses of his teammates, and now his position is known. Now his area of the map is going to be chiseled into from the remaining Cloud9 members. Sonic in form, OC, good performance on Dust 2 as Tatterzin looks to try and bypass the situation, push down towards Ivy, change up his angle of aggression, but it's an MP9. In a retake at the best of times, even with an M4, this is asking a great deal, but especially with an MP9. He doesn't have a kit additionally. Maybe he's going to try and thin out the herd and take some of these players with him, but OC's having none of it. He puts the M4 to use, and Cloud9 instantly bounced back.
OC even clapping that corpse with a little deeg shot. Send a message with the death. Vince? All right, Cloud9 doing what was done to them on Dust 2, in fact, buying back and being so successful in that second round. It's a good thing you mentioned OC, because across that last time they played Train, we had OC at the top of the scoreboard for Cloud9. He had himself a plus 11 kill spread, 1.28 rating. And for the boys on Gaming, it was actually IDK who almost mirrored him. I talk about OC's 1.28. IDK was 1.29. So my eyes fall on those 2 individuals today. Funnily enough, after Dumao at 4-1, IDK's got the 3K already. Let's see if they can do to their opponents what was done to them. It's a very scary situation playing around with the economy on the CT side of Train. Very calculated risks, but risks that have paid off thus far. Scout shot connects. There's 1 T down on that B site, but JT, he almost gets killed by Dumao. He barely does any damage. OC swoops in for the frag. Sonic swings wide to try and trade if needed, but it's him and JT to pummel another player to the backside of that site. RCF, great scout shots, but other than that, there has been nothing too successful to the boys of Gaming.
They've both dropped into the hot dog area. They're going to be trying to divide and conquer here if they can. IDK comes out with 1. That's going to at least keep Cloud9 in the back foot. I'm not sure if Gaming go for this. Purely off the basis, they only have a flashbang but no kits. And because they did go for a full-out purchase, they're going to have nothing into this. And you can see it Tatterzin. He wants this fallen weapon. He wants to be able to save one of these guns, and he's going to find one in a few moments, but it's just the MAC-10. It doesn't quite hit the same way as an AK or Galil. but it does mean he can drop this to one of his teammates or indeed keep it, as he does have Kevlar, and drop the Deagle to somebody else. So it does keep their options a little bit more diverse, but Cloud9, hot off the back of a very disappointing pistol, have certainly regained a ton of strength.
Gonna have to take one, though. Not going to be able to afford any kind of a buyback here. Cloud9 looking for that easy third round. So we'll just ask ourselves more simpler questions, Vince. How many players get through unscathed versus just these measly pistols? I say measly pistols, but there is still that booby trap in IDK's FAMAS. And perhaps this little Discotheque MAC-10.
It's a cracking skin, isn't it? Love it.
Yeah, Harry just got one. Very cool. But I opened up a knife, so I win.
I was there. So
yeah, you were.
Welcome, Scrawdy. You're welcome.
Yeah, the best thing to come from online green rooms is you can just open cases while you wait to cast, Vince. Gaben's got my back. Tadazin, turn your back. Modem's just dropped down. Oh, onto him. And he even gets JT over the shoulder of Floppy Dumao. Dumao now, he's got a position here. Sonic, he's occupied with the ladder. Doesn't expect to run into the dirty Deagle. OC, he gets it back. That bomb's in his control. And Fastin, unbeknownst to the T side just yet, I think they may have seen him. He's gonna eat the flashbang and fall. So the simpler questions still have difficult answers and difficult pills to swallow. Cloud9 versus a lackluster buy still lose 3 members.
Still lose 3 members, putting OC down to $400 as a result of the AWP purchase. And yeah, gaming, their economy's not faring too much better. No kits, lack of grenades on a couple of players, but we said Train is one of those playgrounds for AWPers. Both AWPs played well on Dust 2. This is tantalizing. Sandwich smoke comes down. Sonic pushes. He's hiding in the smoke. And Dumont is taking so many flashbangs left and right. Can hear the pitter-patter of footsteps now, but Sonic is going to get the drop. Meanwhile, Fastin watching, anticipating this push, waiting for a couple players to come into his crosshair, but they may get snuffed out from Dumas' M4. He continues to hold down the line. MOTM can't push in. There's a Molotov down there, and now Fastin makes short work of him. It would appear that, yeah, gaming are going to counteract. They're going to bounce back with authority, and Cloud9 in real trouble.
OC and JT both still outside T-Con. Dumao looking for more. The fact that he crossed paths with Sonic and neither of them died immediately is quite incredible. The fact that he comes back in with impact and hasn't taken a bit of damage yet is huge. Fastin, 2 quick kills with those M4 headshots, gets Yeah Gaming their second round, and now we feel the pain for Cloud9. Why? Because sure, they may have won that round 2 forest buy, but in hindsight, losing so many players in the previous round, now to just lose and afford the survivors of Yeah, 2 AKs and the AWP now into the equation. I mean, this is where Yeah Gaming are right back on track. Cloud9 made some big waves out the gates, but those waves have fallen to ripples. Smokes dropping down onto this A site. We've got the CTs inside of sight. RCF trying to find an angle. Tons of utility damage being done, but also money being made. Cloud9 gonna walk away with their heads somewhat high, as now all of them will still die, JT included. Everybody up for Yeah Gaming. This is big, but they got the bomb plant, Vince. The slimmest of silver linings.
Yeah, their heads high, but just high enough to catch a couple stray bullets in the end. But it's great news for Yeah Gaming. As you said, I mean, it just builds up their economy nicely. The round prior to this one, they only lost 1 player. So that's 1 player lost in 2 rounds. Their money starting to flourish. But Cloud9, hot off the back of that bomb plants, have options, and they decide they want to go in. The downside, because they were just underneath the threshold of an AWP, we will not see OC with one in his hands, but it is full AK-47s, allows them that more mobility, that more mobile approach to try and force their way out. But speaking of forcing, it's going to be Yeah Gaming putting a Molotov down with 2 players in Ivy and a third about to join them with Fastin. They may try and flash in for a peek. That's exactly what happens, and 2 players out there to try and fend this one off, and even trade for a 1-for-1 normally would favor the T's, but when you consider that there's only 1 smoke between the 4 of these players, that's going to make this a little bit more deadly of an encounter. You feel like raw entries are going to have to be the order of play for Cloud9.
Yeah, nothing kind of came streaming through after the first one. You could see this position from Sonic afforded to him because the gunfight's going down on Ivy, but RCF, despite despite the best efforts of Modem, who had already clawed back after that first kill without vision on his victim, still it's a 3v3 and low HP on a player apiece for these two teams. IDK on bomb site, takes to the top rope, gets dropped back by Floppy, and then Sonic activates to clear out Z. RCF, they knew where he was, and they know that he's been damaged. Minimal health to work with here. Cloud9 gunning for a 4th T round. And screw the state of the economy, screw everything else after the fact. It's rounds to the board that matter most, and they could still be in a position to stabilize after the fact. RCF's op, invaluable, and he's not even going to get a chance to save.
This is where those two previous rounds that we touched on, those Scrawny, are going to be a safety net for EA Gaming. Sure, you've lost, but you had plenty of cash, so you can replenish those guns. The downside, though, you've pretty much spent your life savings. It's only Tattersyn and Dumas who are over $1,000, and where Cloud9 actually comes to the round, and interestingly enough, OC's gone for a scout. It shows his positivity with that gun, how much confidence he has with this. Fastin going to be watching on the green train from Ivy is another aggressive play outside. We've seen Cloud9 do this so many times. They throw the sandwich smoke, they push inside it and try and make work happen. But Fastin, he's read the script, he's seen this happen too many times, and they're not going to get him this time around. OC pushing him with the scout. IDK lighting up the scoreboard with 3 kills, and he lays the round to rest. Raise Cloud9 bare 4-4, and now it's C9's turn to feel the economic pinch.
Yeah, the bear trap in IDK. This poor guy was left in so many clutch situations on Dust 2 that the odds were always against him, but he's coming out flying here on train. Nice play behind the smoke, just buying his time, really giving us a moment to reminisce to when Dumas did something similar. Cloud9, they've found footing on the outer yard, but that footing shrouded by the CT's secrecy. Pistols just chewed apart. Everybody's slaughtered, and Tattersyn still stands tall.
Bit of reprieve from all this action, Scrawny. Finally, we get a round that's over pretty fast without too much bloodshed going backwards and forwards. Of course, Cloud9 basically ecoing, and now they're back in with another buy. But because of how sketchy and how much of a seesaw of CS this has been, economically speaking, for Cloud9, we're not seeing OC with that many orbs. And this could be a determining factor come the end of this half. You want to see him with more of them so we can have that bit extra impact as we saw in Dust 2. But RCF, speaking of the AWP, he's in a tailor-made position to fend off the oncoming Ts. He repels the invaders, but Sonic has also satiated his bloodlust momentarily onto Fastin. Even trade globally between the two teams here.
Oh, then the peek from IDK. Sonic never saw it coming. He's in a bit of a pinch, though. He's just hiding behind the minimal cover of the E-box, and JT catches his head on the side of it all. 3v3 ensues. Bomb ready to split this A site, so it seems, and a cautious RCF still sticks towards B. They start moving themselves outwards, and there it is. The headshot versus Floppy. Great connection from Dumas. Looking for a little bit more. And JT, encroaching closer, gets checked by Tattersyn, who now knows that Dumas is in a painful position, but he comes out swinging yet again. OC on for the clutch, but Dumas the difference maker. 3 kills in this one, 11-5 thus far.
Huge. 2 players on 11, Dumas and IDK. And 4 assists alongside those 11 frags. 113 ADR to Dumas, 117 to IDK. Plenty of utility damage. Tattersyn and IDK. Everyone is really just pulling in a shift for EA Gaming when it's really required. But we did see they took a fast lead on Dust 2, and we know how that map ended up. Cloud9 had their hands held high, victorious. It is going to be another pistol round. These typically have not fared well. The T side, they have been battered, bruised, and by and large ripped to pieces, but there is going to be a kill from JT, and Sonic, with the Glock of all weapons, comes ripping out for a frag, but IDK, Mr. Reliable himself, is putting down the pain, and JT can do little but back away with the AWP. He can go retrieve the bomb, which is dropped down on the T side of main, and maybe land some frags before this round is done, but it's going to be a slow one if he decides to try and save the AWP.
It's not every day you get wallbang Glock kills, Vince. So bask in the glory that it is. JT, you want to keep this op or you want to put on some pain first and foremost? The fact that he's the bomb carrier does bode well. Ooh, and that CT backs right back into the scope. Now JT, it's a matter of figuring out these other two positions. They're separated. That's the best thing for him. Yeah, Gaming's last remaining members not able to trade, but they take to the top of the train. An ambitious little no-scope. JT honing in on this, sees the shadow, knows he's dropped, and now has the inkling, but it's up and down and straight through. IDK makes the moves they need to close a 7th. And that there, Vince, is a little bit worrying for Yeah Gaming, finally starting to add up those deaths and costs, but still lots of cash in the coffers. They rebuy with ease, one op included, and there's no sniper for OC here as Cloud9 bottom out their banks.
Yeah, 26 kills collectively for Cloud9, which it's not too shabby, but that's averaging just over 2 per round here. Not ideal. Yeah, Gaming, you can see a couple of their players is still booming economically. Tatlizin and RCF are loving life. The rest of the team in poverty, but they're okay. Looking down on the rest of the plebs on the server and Cloud9. They need to get one of these rifle rounds to stick, Strawny, because this is now 6 of the last 7 rounds have gone to the Brazilians. That momentum, that key word, that huge integral part of Counter-Strike that we go back to time and time again, it is very much lighting up the sails of Yeah Gaming and cruising towards a potential solid CT half. But Floppy is going to cut those sails short alongside Sonic. And now things looking that little bit better for Cloud9. Can they capitalize? Can they convert on this as Mollies charge in? They're going to be able to bypass them without too much incident. Fastin, meanwhile, though, cannot bypass the Molotov designated to keep him at bay, keep him at arm's reach. And because of the fact there's only 2 rich players on Yeah Gaming, they have to save. They have no option. Cloud9 with their 5th.
Yeah, passive behavior that we haven't seen Ye have to deal with just yet. You know, they're calling off saves and doing so with still a lot of money in the bank. Let's be real. You know, we're looking at 10,000 for RCF to drop guns if he survives this. It's a big if. You know, Cloud9, they could afford to take a couple chances. No, not even. I take that back. You don't want to lose a single player. Look at the cash here for the T side. This is their chance to actually finish the T half with a round lead. It's unlikely still, because you'd think Yeah Gaming have showed us enough that their defense is not inherently flawed. Boo. Are these guys booing? That's just kind of rude, isn't it? Has that been happening all weekend? Have these pricks just been sat out in the crowd booing for the save, Vince? That's like guys who boo UFC fighters when they don't think the fight's too entertaining. You sit down. You're the crowd.
Yeah, you get in the cage and see how things go for you.
Yeah, try and boo me. All right, but alas, okay, we'll ignore the crowd. We'll focus on the stars, the show. RCF, what do you know, goes for those early op shots, and they're not going to waste any time. Cloud9, they taste the blood in the water, and they're going to just try and sink their teeth into yet another post plant. They catch the players boosting. Oh, JT, even getting the player beneath. He kicks off the top and punches out the bottom of that totem pole. It collapses on the A site with nothing to show for. They just have to sulk back into the depths of which they came and try to save yet again, because that money, yeah, it's not limitless. And Cloud9 starting to close this round count, 1 away from the tie.
It goes back to what they were talking about as well on the desk in between maps, where they said that at one point, Cloud9, they're up against it on Dust 2. It was like, yeah, with those mini Furia mentality of just constantly bullying and pushing them, and Cloud9 have had enough. And we're seeing that aggression come in again. Look how rapid Cloud9 got outside there onto the site, up close and personal onto Yeah Gaming. They know that RCF continually uses the AWP. We've seen a couple of double AWP setups with Dumar taking the second one. Why not push into their face? Why not get as frenzied as possible and get that ruthless aggression in effect and take them out of their comfort zone?
Yep. And I think, Vince, that if we had this map in the series for Cloud9 yesterday, not taking anything away from Team 1, but this is where I've at times been most impressed by Cloud9. Those straight up A aggression type rounds have been their cookie cutter. It's been one of the reasons they've turned heads at times throughout the start of 2020. So I'm super down to see it, because the same way Furia cranked the tempo to a degree that couldn't handle, Cloud9 are doing that. And they're not on the Inferno map that Furia favor. No, this is Train. This is where Cloud9 have made their name. And JT, well, he doubles down into the spray, finding Tadizin on the side of the smoke and leaving Fastin over here by Ivy. He's revealed himself with a couple of unnecessary shots. He had hoped to find some damage, but instead he's empty-handed. And RCF trying to lend that helping hand. He should have seen the shadow. 100% right there at the bottom of the ladder. Now he's noticed, and OC's going to keep him honest. He tries to go for the peek and gets utterly shut down. And all the work that RCF can do at B leads to nothing inside of Z. Cloud9 tie at 7 rounds apiece.
Yeah, that's a key point that you've hit on. Sure, RCF is getting information, he's getting frags, he's doing a decent job, but if your A site keeps collapsing over and over and over again, it doesn't matter what's happening on B. It doesn't matter if RCF is landing the sickest flicks you've ever seen in your life. You're still losing rounds. A site is a real issue right now. I think we're going to have a pause, by the way, ladies and gents. It seems like there's some technical issues. Apparently a player has frozen, so that's why players are jumping around and not much is happening. Indeed.
Fire. Everybody out of the range. Reset, easy fix. Ooh, Vince, this map has, I feel like the overtime on Dust 2 kind of never ended.
Has that feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, straight for the pistol. I mean, the pistol round was over in about 8 seconds. So, yeah, gaming. Trying to claw it back. Oh, nice touch. Got the player. This is, if you guys have never been to a physical DreamHack Open, this is kind of what it's like. Yeah, woo, that's right. Yeah. Woo! You and I would be back behind that big screen, about maybe 10 feet behind it. We'd have all of production, who may I say, I think I speak for everybody on the broadcast, man. We miss production dearly. Even if you guys sit there, 12 hours a day with your QC35s and whatnot, all silent, working hard. It's about the presence, Vince. It's about being in the presence of friends and fans of Counter-Strike, who are oddly small compared to the stage, I would add.
True. Yeah, those are like ant people.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Apparently everything has been resolved, but I completely echo that, man. Like I do miss production. I like a family. And they also, by the way, for those of you that don't know this, often the first one's in by hours, the last to leave. Like the real workhorses, the real people that put in that effort. But regardless, we are going to find out who is leading at halftime. Cloud9 have mounted a comeback. They have mounted something special, and they're going for more of the same. It's not a huge surprise, but this time, Gaming are ready. 3-player stack, watching with a perfect crosshair placement, perfect crossfire, and there is no way forward for Cloud9. Floppy is going to try and do what he can to rummage together a master plan onto B, and he's finding out it's pretty much empty. No one's on B side, but the bomb is not with him. OC, big kill onto IDK, though, and that will allow him to get onto B. And Scrawny, this is winnable.
Absolutely is. What do you got, Floppy? Ready for the walkout, perhaps? Oh, a little tantalized by CT spawn. Now that that's clear, it actually opens a road for the CTs to come out through Z. OC's being left to his own devices. Fastin, he's about to walk into them, and OC's able to manage the first one. Floppy, he tries to come back out. He's been seen by RCF. So Dumao tries to close the distance, and he gets the best of OC. Floppy, he's got the bomb planted for him, trying to hone in on the sniper. He knows RCF was towards Z, but Dumao does it all. 3 kills here in the 15th round to give the Brazilians the edge, the slightest of edge. Cloud9, because of that round 2 force buy, had 3 of their 7 rounds early, and right towards the end closed with 75% of the final 4 rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the break.
I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. I'm a chap wearing saddle, shining cow, branding fire, building lasso, throwing sharp, shooting cowboy. A whiskey drinking, grub eating, bean chewing, pistol loading, cattle herding, spur wearing cowboy. Just a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. I'm a chap wearing saddle, shining cow, branding fire, building lasso, throwing sharp, shooting cowboy. A whiskey drinking, grub eating, bean chewing, pistol loading, cattle herding, spur wearing cowboy. Just a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. Doing what I do best. Rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, driving my cattle out west. I'm a rootin', tootin', trailblazing cowboy, doing what I do best. I'm a chap wearing saddle, shining cow, branding fire, building lasso, throwing sharp, shooting cowboy. A whiskey drinking, grub eating, bean chewing.
Just a couple rootin', tootin', shotgun shooting cowboys, apparently, Vince. That's what we've got here at the 8-7 score line between Yeah and Cloud9. If I hear that song again, I may quit this job.
That's how much you love it. You just have to go listen to it over and over again, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. We're right back into the action, though, folks. Thank you for bearing with us. And hopefully this second half has some more action to offer. 30 frags before between the top fraggers of Dumau and IDK for Yeah. And not only the top fraggers, but the team in the lead for the time being. Just that one round count, but 70 rounds for Cloud9 is something they can definitely be happy about. Sonic, he's going to try to flank this. They're still watching him, though. Or at least they were moments ago. Sonic, he could find perfect timing. They're not prepared. He executes the first, but that's all he's going to get.
That's all he gets, but it's information, Scrawny. He sees 3 more players in the bomb carrier, so now they can try and adjust accordingly. They can try and wrap themselves back towards the A site if they so choose. They already have Floppy here. He's at range with the USP. He has to contend with the P250 of IDK and RCF, who puts it between the eyes of JT. MOTM comes back with one of his own, but all the pieces are starting to become captured as they look for that checkmate in the second pistol. IDK, last player to strike onto OC. And Sonic will be bitterly disappointed. He did not do better. He had the drop. He could have got multiple frags. Instead, it was only one.
What a nice tap there from RCF. I'm telling you, Vince, P250s on the T-side pistol round. It's one of the best things about Counter-Strike, I think, right now. It's one of my favorites. Gives you a chance to contest versus those pesky USPs, especially on a map like Train where Glock gushes can really make you pull your own hair out. Dumau gonna get to E-box early, just walks right into the scout of OC. looking to flex this round advantage to the double, and it is a bloodbath, but only to the favor of the Brazilian side. Floppy, last man standing, his teammates completely empty. There is 5 points of damage done to Yeah. That's it.
Makes for grim listening, doesn't it, really? I mean, 5 points of HP, considering that they went for a force buy and they put all of their chips on the table. They went all in, and they've been utterly devastated as a result. Looking to try and save this MP9 as Floppy, but his options are pretty much as slim as you could really hope for. Yeah, Gaming going to keep all their rifles, which is excellent news, especially considering that it allows them to build up that economy with the post plant. They're all moving to that high to mid $4,000 mark and a 3-round lead on top of it. But again, Scrawny, I go back to that point I made last half where Cloud9 were getting battered. They were getting bruised on Dust too, and they stood things up. However, MOTM was one of those driving forces, and he's currently 4-15. This is a player you expect to see a lot more from.
Wow. 4-15. Yeah, that one really stings, huh? And again, Floppy is once more not kind of turning heads. One of the factors we figured was mandatory for Cloud9 to pick up this series. Mind you, they do still have that first map win. Don't forget about it. And also, they were out of certain moments of the first half when the money stacked against them. Dumao will die. Speak of the devil, Modem's USP. Able to answer back versus that full-fledged rifle. IDK, if he turns around, may get overwhelmed because, hey, look at, speaking of rifles, Modem, he got his paws on it. Now Floppy, he's going to come in. They're actually going to force the issue here. Now they don't have a kit and a crossfire's left over. Ah, the high hopes of the CT side shut down by Tadazin, leaving Cloud9 in tatters. They had a hope. And even if they had not gotten the round, Vince, but just the follow-up damage, that still would have been a win in the backs of their minds. But they got the first 2 steps only to trip on their own shoelaces. It seems like Yeah Gaming will hang on to their lead by 4 for the moment. But this is what we wanted, Vince. This is what we sung the praise of for Cloud9, the double op setup.
Aggression again. This is a good way of counteracting double op setups, but it's going to be aggression from MOTM. We said we needed to see something from him. He just pivots around the corner, spraying with the all. JT in for 3, and RCF scratching his head, looking over the ruins of his teammates littered all around him outside, and he will join them momentarily before they all respawn for round 20. But it will read 11-8, and Cloud9 will be feeling pretty damn good about how their first rifle round went.
Most certainly so. I mean, listen, if you've been watching Counter-Strike for more than a week, you've seen the ridiculous CT side train comebacks. It's happened. And we know Cloud9, that T side was something to talk about because of their resilience, the ability to get 3 of the last 4 rounds, the ability to win round 2 force buy and cultivate that upset for an additional double round after the fact. So let's see what it's made of. Smoke goes deep on the B ramp, and there's 2 CTs behind it. JT with an ambitious forward position inside Pop Dog, but Floppy, I would say one of the best solo B holds on train. His movement at times on both the entry and defense can be incredible. The way he just flies around the ladders, Vince, there's something to be learned while watching Floppy on this B site. I put a lot of weight on his shoulders here in this one. Let's see what comes of it. He's about to get peeked on ramp. Smoke slowly fades. Dumao dinked. Lucky to be alive.
JT diced the Molotov and he pulled the smoke out. What happened there, JT? That's a really important mistake that could cost them dearly, considering their economy's on the line.
He threw it too far. As in, it put out 80% of the Molotov, but not the 20 he was standing in.
Oh no, what a nightmare. 28 seconds though. Maybe He can forget about that come the end of this round if things work out nicely, but his teammates are continuing to stumble and fall. MOTM, the spray nearly yielding a second frag, and now Floppy steps up to the table. He's rotated from B to A, and he is going to start to reap some players. RCF, 10 seconds to go, has to have impact on this flank, or Tatterson needs to come in. 3 seconds, can OC hold the line? That kill is huge, and now he can play the time. What an intelligent play from OC. He just about holds on for dear life, and Cloud9 will get a 9th.
OC's kill count not in quantity, but rather quality. My man, shutting it down, just staying alive long enough. Oh, second Molly, excuse me. Good replay. Thank you, production. He falls victim to that classic. And OC's kill to RCF. I mean, that literally wins the round. Actually, not literally, because the clock did, Vince. But you know what I mean, damn it. He got into the cover off of that frag, and he only had one chance. Dumao, sit down. Trying to Zeus our man mod him. I respect the ambition. But this isn't Dust 2, kid. You're no longer at the 30 frag count. And Modem, even though he's struggling a little bit, not about to die to a measly Zeus. Single AK for Tatterson. Desperate attempt to get something down here on this B site, and Floppy solid hold. Just playing off the headshot angle. OC gives him cover, and that B site hit comes to a grinding halt. The only success stories Fastin as he catches that fast ladder play. Cloud9 slowly but surely chipping away at the early lead established by this T side. 11 rounds to 10. Most certainly so.
Having a quick peek over to the economy, though, of Cloud9, Fastin may not be victorious in terms of adding an extra round to that 11 mark right now, but he could do significant damage economically speaking. However, he is playing more for himself to save this M4. Completely understandable. With this save, they will be able to afford, with round loss bonus coming in, it won't be a perfect buy, but it won't be too shabby. And he goes down anyway. So it doesn't matter. Scratch everything I just said. He will be able to buy regardless. He's got 4.7k, but it would have bolstered up a couple more players. But Cloud9, that's their 3rd in a row. They have answered back, they have stood tall, and they are beginning to deliver.
Once that momentum gets flowing, if they can establish it, things are never going to get easier for Yeah Gaming. You know, we kept our eyes on the cash of the Brazilian CT side, and it wasn't until the very end where they finally had to start saving. They allow Cloud9 that same level of comfort. Things could get hard, but Fastin almost doubling up here. Dumao, he needed to trade that, and he does so well. He is very low on HP, but that doesn't stop him from finding the head of Sonic, who comes to a very quick halt. OC, eyes up, finds IDK, sees the trajectory of the Molly and knows, but Dumao from the darkest of corners, from the deepest of places, digs and comes up with at least one more. OC, oh, almost, but he puts his head on a silver platter, and RCF, only 1 kill. Dumao had the quantity of frags after he creeps and crawls away from the first engagement, but RCF puts an end to the 1v1 clutch.
An abrupt end to the win streak additionally. Tactical timeout has been deployed and decisions to be made for the Cloud9 roster. They have money on 2 players, but not everybody. And they must realize if they go in for a full force here and they are unsuccessful, they've effectively put themselves 1 step out of this map, but they're gonna go for it anyway. Fortune favors the brave, Scrawny, and they're gonna come out with some fiery courage. Will it pay off for them? If not, Yeah Gaming have a very real possibility of getting at least 14 rounds, and Cloud9 may not recover on train.
This is a big risk. It's kind of exciting. I'm okay with this. They almost had it on Dust 2. They don't want to lose that lead now. Hang on for it with dear life. Dumao waits on ramp. Floppy, he's not sitting patiently on the bomb site. Instead, he looks to get aggressive. IDK wasn't ready for that speed. He goes for the peak with just the grenade in hand, and Floppy still can get him. How do they get him out of this position? That's the difficulty that Yeah Gaming now face. And Sonic, he goes to the depths of CT spawn to punish Dumao. He will not be afforded another 3K. A key piece to the last round shut down fast, and now at bat. He's pinched between players. Floppy and Sonic coming back into the equation to kill it all. RCF with a scout, Vince. That's all that's left over. Floppy, again, in a high-pressure situation. Had he been on that bomb site, I think gets overrun. It would have taken a multi-kill, but instead he finds that perfect timing, stays tucked up and above, and then swoops back in when they need him to close that gap once more. The money of Yeah goes low, but the confidence of Floppy soars higher.
Excellent hold. And it was all about that play up in the box halls area. As you have rightfully said, if they get that trade, they can spill out onto the site. They don't have to worry about a catwalk play. Him staying alive was so integral for them surviving, and the tactical timeout has yielded success. Yeah Gaming onto the back foot, down drops Dumont, and he's been punished again. This time JT, last time it was MOTM that he chased out of there, who had a nade out. This time JT will not be burning alive, he'll be holding the line, and it's looking good for Cloud9 to tie us up at 12 apiece. Tartasan is last man standing with just a Glock by his side, his only ally, as the rest of them have been murdered around the board. He has time to play with. They could even treat this as a tactical timeout if they so chose. It's not as if he has anything to hold on to, and he doesn't have a life anymore. 12-12, Cloud9 have made that comeback a success, but can they keep moving in the right direction, or will Yeah Gaming mix up the pace?
Further evidence of the economy being offered over 3 AKs for Cloud9. Wild to me not to see a forced op in this situation, but all the while, Yeah Gaming don't have it in their equation either, Vince. So the math checks out. It's just rifleman through and through. Floppy, he's gonna get flashed close to the smoke, decides to go through it. An audacious play that pays off already. And then he tries to fall back. Dumao, desperate spray to catch him, can't quite find it. An immediate man advantage set up by the lickety-split Ricky Camaro.
Not far off, right idea. 2 players coming through on Ivy, RCF, and Tat is in. Gonna be spotted by Sonic. The flashbang in. Pete gonna be behind it. How many kills forthcoming? Actually none. Just getting round the corner in time, but finally Sonic puts the right amount of bullets in the right area and gets a second as another flashbang destroys Patterson's retinas. JT standing tall, delivering the fatal blow onto Fassin, and it seems like things are coming apart at the seams for Yeah Gaming. They don't have control over the bomb, so Dumas' kill not really gonna matter a great deal. Cloud9 still have 4 players against him. He at least is full HP, but without that bomb, Scrawny, Cloud9 not gonna be falling for this. They know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, Modem should have this one dead to rights. Oh, he even tucks. Lets him out a little further just to take it back. Modem deciding JT's life's expendable. He will be forgiven. Cloud9, they've got that lead now. Secured at least by 1. First timeout called by Yeah Gaming, 26 rounds deep. Here's the beauty of that, Vince, right? Sure, the momentum has kind of rolled for Cloud9 on this CT side, but now Yeah can take a breath and take a calculated pause after every round until the end of this one, basically. Make sure that you are all on the same page with your ecos. Make sure you have every last piece of your utility calculated. You're not going to get many other chances after this one. They shouldn't have this many rounds versus what is definitely the expected second place team in Group B. Furia the favorites, Cloud9 the contenders. Yeah Gaming meant to be written off, but they didn't do it on Dust 2 despite their best efforts. Now would not be the time to stop believing. Great grenade from JT, could have been. Seems like it misses the mark so slightly. Dumao still takes nearly 20 damage. JT, he's going to stick around. He hears the drop, finishes it off with the headshot, and looks to lock this one in. very difficult position to get him out of here, as they've already used the utility they had to try and do so. They wanted that pop dog, Vince, and they're not going to get it for free.
I will say that Cloud9's defense of Pop Dog has been exceptional. Whether it's MOTM or JT, they've consistently kept their hands on this. At the very least, they've gone an even trade. They've never been bulldozed, especially once Cloud9 picked up their rifles. They've looked so good, and of course, as I say that, JT is on the receiving end of just unbelievable CZ work. Fasting P250 in hand, lays down another player, but it's down to OC with the AWP range. He gets bested from Fasting, and perhaps this half buy is still going to reap the rewards after all, or perhaps not. Floppy is going to be on the site, burning to a crisp, and Cloud9 by the thinnest of margins hold on against the half purchase from Yeah Gaming. They take the 14-12, but my God, Scrawny, was that close?
Yeah, way too close for comfort for Cloud9, and so damn close for Yeah that they've got to feel good off of this. They decide not to use one of their pauses. I was just saying how if you come into the round with everybody on the same page, you can make that magic happen, and they damn nearly did it. They're coming in with the rifle round, deciding not to cool things off. They were that close, but now they're one step behind. An immediate peek coming out of Sonic off of Ivy, and we have a 5v4. How do Yeah Gaming reel back from this? Vince, they faced a similar situation last round with lesser weaponry and still almost managed. Cloud9 better not let their guard down.
Floppy's seen at least one player, potentially two. Molotov goes in, but Floppy comes out. IDK surviving with half of his HP as Dumar pushing, aggressively finds OC and closes his eyes momentarily. It looks like Yeah Gaming will try their damnness to keep this dream alive. They are 2 rounds away from elimination, and they're going to try and survive that a little bit longer. That spray through the smoke, though, is Sublime, and Sonic with the AWP lays out fast in. They are vaporizing what remains of Yeah Gaming, and now JT tickles the bomb. He's going to stick on this smoke, comes out. Can Tattison get the frag? No, he can't. They sneak the defuse underneath his nose, and Cloud9 have 3 match points.
Another heartbreaker for Yeah Gaming. They found that entry on the B site. They hit Floppy when he was nothing but a solo hold. He tried to flash them off at that angle, and he gets his head ripped off. Dumao deep down behind the oil tanker, cuts off the first op, and it looks so dire. But Sonic comes in with that secondary sniper and brings it to the man advantage for Tattison. No molly up in those halls. Floppy, he doesn't want to sit on a bomb site. He decides to crank the dial, and it costs him his life, but he does take one down with him. Sonic back towards Ivy as IDK is dropped to 46. They run boost over Vince. Anybody's round, but a double sniper setup still the key piece for Cloud9 to try and close this here.
Cloud9 mere moments potentially from expunging the threat of Yeah Gaming and forcing them out of the tournament. It's been labored. Fast in, perfect angle, sees the shadow, and will not miss his chance. Player advantage now moves to the Brazilians. Fast in, staying in the same angle. He knows there's no great rush here. They have time on the clock. He is still going to be able to stand and deliver. And this time it's JT that's fallen, but the 2 AWPs both rattling in unison. A cacophony of chaos. Sonic comes in one more time. And now RCF 1v2 clutch to keep Yeah Gaming in this for pure survival. That instinct has got to kick in. He spots Sonic. He drills him down, takes a leg shot for his troubles. He's down to 41 HP, but both players have AWPs. He spots OC, and he puts the nail in the coffin of this round. Yeah Gaming survive just about.
RCF, that gets the hearts pumping for Yeah Gaming. Remember, they still have pauses. And look at Cloud9. They have no money for the buy, Vince. They are going to have to do what Yeah Gaming nearly did to them just 2 or 3 rounds ago, with a half buy potentially being enough to take this one over the line. But RCF, my man, he's had a quiet game, all things considered. His ADR near abysmal. Creeps out from T-Con, hits that shot on the first player. Vince, he took the leg shot. If I'm not mistaken, that shot, if it's a Lethal one means this map is done. He would have been dead, but he hits his shot as he survives. This game, a matter of millimeters and milliseconds. And then he gets his last frag just delivered on a silver platter. Never even a chance in hell for the last member of Cloud9. Cloud9, they took the first pause. Yeah, Gaming, they want more time. They take one of theirs. 2 more to go. They could stack them all here. They could keep them rolling. They have as many pauses left as rounds needed to force this second map into OT. Elimination on the line. Yeah, Gaming, having come through the closed qualifier as one of the lowest, if not the lowest, ranked team of all of the contenders in this event. To call them underdogs would be the understatement. To write them off before this started would be fair. To write them off after their performance versus Furia, not so just. But now here with Cloud9's elimination on the line, a map 3 looming oh so close that they can taste it, they cannot afford to choke it just yet. And Cloud9, they decide to come in with a very weak purchase. 2 P250 single flash. It's all in on the T-Con play, hoping to catch one player, maybe grab a gun and shuffle feet towards B before the commitment may come through. But they leave, and Fastin has all of this audio. Bombs still towards spawn. Yeah, Gaming, we saw this versus Furia, leaving bomb back and not forcing the issue, rather having to turn around than just follow all the way through. OC, sure, catch them by surprise, but his whole team's already dead, and just like that, Vince, this map goes the distance, just like Dust 2. More overtimes or elimination. That's what have to contemplate as they realize they face a full buy in this 30th round.
It's a full buy, but it's still lacking. Floppy, just the FAMAS. There are no kits on the side of Cloud9. And so, even though Cloud9 taking their time, not forcing, they're still struggling. AWP out, RCF connecting the shot onto JT, taking damage in the process, but a worthwhile trade. And huge, great news for Gaming. They can also peace out of Pop Dog. They don't have to stay around here. They've done the damage early doors. Nades coming through, and RCF just obliterates MOTM. Overtime looking pretty good right about now. RCF still staying in Pop Dog, baiting the players to come in, begging them to try and force into his location, because he knows the rest of his team are now poised, pondering, waiting, ready to strike onto the site at a moment's notice. Floppy still on B though, is going to be tested momentarily. And is he going to pass this with flying colors? The timing favors him, nearly gets away with it, but his teammate goes down instead. And that's OC with the AWP. Now Floppy has shown his hand. AK or AWP, he chooses the AWP over the AK-47, but he's in a 1v3 spawny. Surely this heads to overtime.
That's what you'd think, Vince. That's what you would absolutely be justified in thinking. But Floppy is going to try his damnedest to change your mind. He doesn't have a kit, and he sees the first tee. Another couple in different positions, still unbeknownst to him. Molly, that screws with his timing. He has to wait this one out, but he's getting ever closer. Now they know. Oh, additional grenades, that seals the deal. Yeah, Gaming, you right now rewrite the contract for RCF. This man is worth his weight in gold. Round 28, when he clutches that 1 versus 2 while taking the leg shot, and then follows up in this 30th round with a lightning fast peek on E-Box and the no-scope versus Modem as he tried to get back the ladder control. Vince, I don't feel like that overtime on Dust 2 ever ended, because we are continuing it here on Train. OT's back on the menu. A delicious matchup here between Cloud9 and that just keeps on giving at the fastest of paces. They get themselves off to the races as they sprint into A. And Sonic ducks back behind the Ivy train, finding the perfect angle to get the man advantage, but he's still feeling the heat. RCF, dangerous play to make. Gonna cost him his life, and very well the first round of this OT. Tad is in 1v4. They tried to crank the tempo, Dust, but Vince, but Cloud9 were oh so ready.
They're up to the task. And is it just going to be Tatterson, who is able to at least take the 1 kill before he inevitably drops, but Cloud9 doing what they were unable to in the previous 3, and that's get another CT round on the books. So yeah, gaming, of course, it's 16K. They can afford no problems at all, and they can buy in the next round as well. So economy is not really an issue, which does suggest we're going to have a lot more aggression, a lot more retake ability, and just going for broke, basically, in every single round. But C9, again, solid A control. Smokes out early on from both teams, but it's not going to be a main push. Instead, it's going to be Ivy and Sonic. He just steps in the molly for way too long, and then he realizes too late that he's dead if he stays, and he's dead if he moves in. He walks out into the open, and he's gobbled up by Dumas. What a horrific mistake to make. It's such an integral part of this match.
And they do it off the man disadvantage. Modem, same result. Goes into the peak. Not forced by flames, but rather the flashbang. Now a double man disadvantage. Yeah, gaming, they're just making Cloud9 sweat. Everything falls silent. They're not quite sure what to do, where to go, when to do it even. But they find B site clear, and that's kind of weird. It's going to call the bomb back to action. 45 seconds if they want to re-rotate through spawn, but that's a long sprint, and there's nobody between the B site and the bomb carrier to guarantee a path. There's bandits, highwaymen set up inside of both Pop Dog and this A site. But luckily they decide to go with numbers. And unless JT cuts off 3 players on his own, that B bomb plant will be the solution. Dumao, he comes out from Z. The CT's unsuspecting. And that right there is their 16th round. Absolutely, Vince.
Yes, this will be the 16th round being keyed in. And whereas saving's not really a viable situation with 16K, keeping an AK-47 would be worth. They can afford orbs regardless of what happens here, but I feel like they go in for this, especially as OC has put this into a 2 versus 4. They have a bit of utility to play with. They have enough time. The bomb coming up to half of its fuse left. RCF has been tagged, but Tatterzin holds on to JT, and a miss from OC allows Tatterzin to dip in for his 3rd of the round. So yeah, gaming pick up their 16th, tie us all up one more time, and Cloud9, that push from Sonic into box halls was so rough.
Hindsight 2020. You know, Floppy has had some success, I think, getting aggressive up there, but that Molotov just perfectly countered Sonic's play. The fact that they even saw him tuck behind the box, where he then waited and decides to go for the repeak once there's 2 Ts holding him in, Vince, that's the end of his days. They dodge the flash towards Ivy, but heavy presence nonetheless here from RCF and his 2 other teammates. A perfect just trio of grenades. An absolute bombardment to get the 5v4. One of the 3 snipers down. There goes JT. RCF wastes no time taking the space those nades created, but he will be caught by OC. Floppy still kind of worried about the front side of the B site, but Vince, it's Yeah Gaming still very much at bay.
MOTM is waiting. He is biding his time, but the problem is this is a bait. This is an interference play. They're not heading towards the B site, so it's fine that Floppy's got that frag, but it's actually A. So sure, IDK goes down, but MOTM was drawn out into a very awkward position. Still comes out. I thought he was going to win that fight, but he actually comes out second best there too. And Fastin going to stand with 34 HP. OC and Floppy, the double ops in play. Solid shot from Floppy, keeping this in the realms of possibility. They're looking to torch back onto the site and reclaim what was once theirs. Only a flashbang between the 2 of them, and Tatterzin's position is looking so very good right now. And there is Fastin, who chips in from the other side. Yeah Gaming will lead going into the second half of OT.
2 T rounds to their name. That bodes very well. But don't forget, Cloud9's success story began with a great offensive half. Not necessarily in all of the gun rounds, but they went for the force buy in the second. They made that magic happen. They can dig real deep when it comes to train, so no reason to write them off. And we saw the back and forth affair of Dust 2. This map simply the continuation. Already Sonic in position, out. Olaf holds on his own. Players decide to just run through the molly. OC combat opping, ready for the Z peak perhaps. But RCF He's going to try and take a vision over it. And there it is, the headshot versus the opposite offer. 4 versus 3 scenario. Sonic so far removed. Floppy, he has to buy time. And you'd think JT plays for the insurance of a round win by staying upstairs. Oh, Floppy just through the fading smoke, trying to buy time for Sonic, who would love to sprint Vince, but can't just yet. He has to creep crawling, and he gets it. The headshot versus Dumao. The double onto RCF. Fastens on the bomb. He's desperate, and he's dead. Cloud9 tie at 17.
Great work from Sonic, but you also have to give a nod to his teammates that actively started to fall back. Typically in situations like that, you actually want to take the initiative. They were stuck in this claustrophobic angle, but because of Sonic's call, I am flanking, I'm on the look, give me a chance to have my impact. They draw back, they play passively, they allow to soak up that pressure, they absorb the shock and the impact, and then Sonic does the rest. So well played from Cloud9. But yeah, Gaming, they're not budging an inch. They're also laying down the law. RCF trades out with OC, both uppers coming in, but RCF now shows his hand. And MOTM is put down with authority. Floppy, in the meanwhile, gonna spot Dumao, who pushes through the smoke and gets punished. And now IDK has his back, but JT is gonna spin, swivels on ahead and take IDK's clean off. And now Floppy is going in for more. Tat is in, stuck behind the side in a very awkward position. It's a bit of an off angle, but he may not even get peaked because JT with the bomb is going to go and tickle that plant, try and draw the player out into the open. And Cloud9 now have a match point.
They secure it first. Yeah, Gaming trying to keep this one alive. Something like triple or quadruple overtime. Last time they played on Train, Vince, everything's just going so well. This series, the round count ridiculous. A third map still a possibility, but it requires, yeah, to come out right now and shut this one all down. And Cloud9, they're just bombarding this A site with tons of utility, looking to try and find a CT in an overextended peak, and the possibility's definitely there for OC. Oh, he goes to the top rope fast and thinking he could use the elevation, but Sonic, he uses the extension. He had already walked so far forward. 3v5, nearly cut back in time. RCF completely smoked off and down for the count. Cloud9, having faced elimination versus Yeah Gaming, now just need to kill Tadazin, and they have him wrapped up. They survived 2 ridiculous overtimes on Dust 2, and then the distance here on Train. What an incredible series.
Unbelievable. We had one best of 3, but it felt like 2 scrawny. It was just action-packed from start until end, and I loved every second of it. But I've got to say, yeah, are going to be sat there thinking, this should have been our win. We should have won this, but they were ahead in both maps.
I mean, let's be real. They knew that they were at a loss versus Furia, and the odds were still ever stacked against them versus Cloud9, but they showed us that they have some fight in them. As much as Team 1 had convinced us that they're here to play this week, well, I was ready to watch, yeah, eliminate Cloud9. There was reason to believe we were only rounds away from it. An awesome showing from them, but they are the first team eliminated from the NA side of DreamHack Open Summer 2020. Our only best of 3 of the day, but still just action-packed. We'll have the analysts after the break. Please do stick around.
A match so close, both teams could almost taste the win, but alas, it will fall in the favor of Cloud9. Another overtime win, and this was the series that kept on giving, and it really could have fallen either way. But I think we need to give some credit to Yeah, because Christine, they was reason to believe they could have taken this from Cloud9.
Yes, for sure. And man, did it go the distance. And at every point, you're right, Freya, it did seem like yeah, could have converted every single round themselves. But on the flip side, Cloud9 as well. So this was really a battle, brutal battle for both of these squads. And I'm just glad to see that Cloud9 didn't let go. You know, we saw them attacking that outside yard on multiple occasions on the T side. Sonic had such a phenomenal round. JT as well. Both of these guys really found all the entries that they needed with those rifles. And OC as clutch as ever still.
Yeah, I love that you bring him up because Blair, I think he was one of your favorites in this match. There were so many moments when we were sitting in the green room. OC would make a play, including Sonic as well. I feel like their approach to this map, it seemed like they were kind of taking that aggression from, they were kind of getting used to how they were playing it. Do you feel like they were kind of the stars in this match?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. That was a kind of a messy game of Counter-Strike overall, right? But it was fun. It was definitely entertaining. And I feel like at Cloud9, they were a little shook and they were like, okay, if that's how you want to play it, this is how we're going to play it as well. And OC, he's just a baller. I mean, so many times with that op on the T side, especially being so impactful and kind of stealing away these rounds. And if I'm Cloud9, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be feeling very happy with this win. It's a win. They survive elimination, obviously. But again, this is a Cloud9 who were kind of on an upwards trajectory. And right now, they're kind of looking a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we're going to get to see more of them. And speaking of which, we're going to get to see more of them right now. Floppy is joining us in the server. Massive congratulations to you guys. After that long, hard-fought battle, I want to throw it back to Dust 2, which honestly seems like an age ago. Going into that overtime against what on earth were you guys doing? What did you say to one another to allow you to close that out?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. So obviously we're a bit rusty because of the player break, but we just had to based off of our Team 1 game that we played yesterday, we just had to get our heads back in the game and just, clean the rust off. Because obviously we're just really slow and
did you kind
these
of
games should
learn
be so.
Coming from that game? Because that was an interesting one for you guys. Obviously losing out in that might not have been expected. What were your learnings coming into this game from that Team 1 loss yesterday?
I think we just need to take space when we're given permission to. So if they're staying on to util and stuff like that, we were able to walk into certain spots and stuff like that and catch them off guard. We didn't do that at all yesterday. So I think we adapted pretty well today, even though we're still sloppy.
Were you how was it playing against game? Because from our perspective, some of those plays from them were hyper aggressive, sometimes a little surprising, so to speak. Were you kind of caught off guard, or were you able to kind of counter that?
I'd say we weren't really caught off guard. We're kind of expecting a lot of it just because a lot of Brazilian teams have the same sort of play style where they're, like you said, hyper aggressive and stuff like that. So I think we weren't really caught off guard as much as we were just expecting it, really.
Floppy, you mentioned for the second day today about the rustiness, and I think we can also kind of see that between you yourself individually and your entire squad. Do you guys talk about that collectively together and change your approach, change your strategy at all to kind of compensate for that rustiness? Or is it just the same game plan as per usual?
I think we have the same game plan. We just kind of rough on applying it really to the its potential. So I think we just need more time to get back into it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it was JT that mentioned in one of the pre-game interviews that you did that you were sort of focusing more on that consistency for now. I feel like we saw that a bit more in Dust 2 in terms of the kill spread across the board. But in terms of your kind of approach, is there anything different coming off of this player break? Are we going to see any surprises going forward in this tournament?
I think you guys just have to find out.
Well, we eagerly anticipate finding out, indeed. Thank you very much for joining us, Floppy. And yeah, we'll see you in the rest of the tournament.
Thanks, guys.
Fabulous to hear from our man Floppy, and it's very interesting to hear from his perspective. Actually coming into this, they were all feeling very, very rusty, as we were speaking about, Christine. I'm wondering what that says going forward, though, because that interview that we just had from him, he wasn't exactly ecstatic coming off of that win, and I guess it's kind of expected. We're the underdogs coming into this. Maybe they expected to take it easier.
Yeah, I think there's definitely two different ways we can view that. It's Floppy trying not to give away as much information as sometimes he might do in interviews, but also it could be the other side, which is what you just mentioned. They're not that happy with this series. They're exhausted mentally and they're rusty physically in the game, right? So a lot of different factors that might mess with your mental moving forward. But they're gonna have to turn that around. They have another series right after this in a different all-out tournament versus the same team. So a lot of grinding to do left over for these Cloud9 guys.
Exactly that. And we've seen so many incredible games today. It feels like we've had 2 days of games sort of cram-packed into one. It's been awesome. And we've seen some incredible plays going down in this too. And we've collated the top 5 for today. Blair, I'm going to start off with you. Can you walk us through play number 5 and what's happening here?
I shall attempt to do so. And this is going to be Cillian, who was absolutely fantastic today against Endpoint, a 4 game. That was a very crucial round for them to win, mind you. And this opening 3K, first to get the collateral and then of course finishing it off with a 4K. Kind of unfortunate that they get knocked out, but it's still showing that he still has the chops.
He is showing it, and look who it is again with play number 4. It's a Cillian, and he's an opper, guys. I didn't know he was an opper, but this flick, that flick on top of the blue train, disgusting. So good.
How does he even hit this? Like, what is that? Number 3 is our man, Jerry. Just running to the B bombs.
Jerry.
Go for it, bud. Jerry. And yeah, just basically opening up that bomb site. And this was such an important must-win game for Force. Obviously, they've been struggling so far, especially against Spirit. And thanks to him winning their first series the entire year against their rivals.
And with play number 2, we're coming out with Endpoint. Such a huge surprise today, coming out swinging. And this was a huge clutch round from Robin. This was actually such a pivotal round. It swung everything for Endpoint because at this point, they were down, I believe it was 13-2 half or 12-3 half. It was such a huge deficit. So huge clutch round from Robin.
And once again, my favorite CIS player, personally keeping Simple aside, is going to be Jerry again, coming in massive on Dust 2. Like I said, this is a series, this is a must-win game for both the teams in Spirit. Well, finally the win streak ends and all because of Jerry. Like I said, these in-game leaders, I don't know, Cillian, Jerry, they can op, they can rifle, they can clutch. It's been a topsy-turvy day of Counter-Strike, Potter. And you know what? I love it.
It really has been. Love to see Jerry taking that number 1 spot. And we were kind of speaking about it before we came on air here. We got to decide who our MVP of the day is. And it's a very, very hard decision because we've seen so many incredible games across the board today. But it is going to be going to our boy, Crucial from Endpoint. And Blair, I feel like this is a very deserved MVP.
100%. And I picked Crucial primarily because of the fact that it just wasn't about the number of kills he got and whatnot, which is quite substantial, but the fact that Endpoint knocking out Mad Lions, right? This is a team, they were down 16-0. They lost 16-0 on map 1. I mean, 0-16, the meme, right? And they managed to claw back. They won map number 2. Map number 3, they were down 12-3 and still clawed back. And he was so instrumental in them getting this win. And for Endpoint, after getting that win, taking big all the way, you know, to the wire, I think it's gonna really give them that little bit of extra boost, a little bit of extra belief they needed. I feel they really need that. And with that, heading into the, I do believe it's gonna be the decider matchup. They're gonna play the loser of the winners matchup taking place later on tomorrow. They're going to be feeling very confident, and I feel Crucial was a very crucial part in them.
I saw that coming.
Pish. Did you know, Potter?
200 IQ Blair, but also 200 IQ from Crucial there. Some beautiful shots he was hitting. It was awesome to see him finally manage to pick up that AWP after that 0-16. And yeah, defeating Mad Lions is a huge, huge result indeed. But that isn't all we have for you today. We're going to be having a look at what's going to be going on tomorrow. There are some more absolutely huge games going on. We've got one more elimination match, and then we've got our 2 winners matches as well. It's going to be huge. I'm really excited to take a look at exactly which matches we're going to be seeing. I believe we're going to be seeing Big versus Heroic up first, which is going to be a huge matchup. I'm very excited to see what these 2 teams can bring back into the server. We saw them back on Saturday competing. Big, a little bit rusty versus Endpoint, but Heroic, they looked super solid against the side of Mad Lions. So Potter, what are you kind of thinking for tomorrow's games?
Oh man, I think you summed it up really nicely. I'll just add that Cadian was such a huge, huge pivotal part in why Heroic looked so dominant, why that scoreline was so one-sided. So I'm curious to see if he still has the same form. I don't doubt it at all because Cadian has been amazing for these Heroic guys, but I'd still like to see the rest of the guys stepping up and performing as good as I think that they can too.
Yeah, and then obviously over in Group B of our EU division, we're going to be left with Complexity versus OG. Obviously, Fours living to fight another day after they managed to beat Team Spirit very convincingly, I might add, in that best of 3 series. It's going to be some spicy competition coming into it. And I think, Blair, those were the 2 teams that we may have expected from that Group B going forward.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's kind of cool as well for me personally how it's the 2 mixed international teams facing on upper brackets. But for NA, can't forget, that's a tasty matchup, right? Liquid, we have Moses, who's kind of left us alone and joined as a coach. It's going to be, I believe, his debut game, facing off against Chaos with Steel at the helm. I don't care what time this matchup is, I'm tuning in for this one.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see that indeed. We were all getting very excited when we saw Moses in the server earlier. I think he might have been doing some pre-game interviews, so hopefully we will get to hear from the man himself. And of course, that lower bracket game we're going to be seeing out tomorrow, the Pug Gods versus Triumph. That again is our elimination match. So one of those 2 teams is going to be going home. So we have a mixed bag of games going into tomorrow, and I'm so excited for it. But I think all that is left to say is thank you so much to our sponsors, Monster, Intel, and of course, Corsair. Thank you so much for joining us for day number 3 of DreamHack Open Summer. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you very much to Corsair and Blair for joining me up on the desk all day long. And we will be back at 3:30 CEST tomorrow to kick off our next matches. You've got to join us there.